We have Randy Noka. Randy is a member of the Narragansett Tribe, husband, father, and grandfather. He has been involved with tribal, minority, and civil rights issues locally and nationally for most of his life. Welcome, Randy.
Thank you very much. Asko Wikwazani Tampawags. That's hello, friends, in my native tongue. I am Randy Noka, Narragansett and Seekonk Wampanoag member. Professionally, I'm a vice president of new markets at Mohegan Sun. In the past, I've served as can't hear me? I've served as a tribal councilman in the past for my tribe, the ambassador. I've sat on boards for regional and Native American, national Native American organizations. And I share those real quick points about me, not to whatever boast, I suppose, but different experiences that I've come to appreciate as I traveled the roads and going into rooms and meetings or wherever we go as people. You know, different opportunities to learn about other nations, other Native Americans, other ethnicities, other races, creeds, and colors. I've been blessed to be able to travel in this country in many ways. I've been to every state and traveled across the seas and seen a lot of opportunities of learning cultures and different ways of those people at that time. And it's been a blessing, but at the same time, you know, certainly an awakening, because as we stand here today, obviously this country, as good as it is, or as good as we like to think it is, there's still a lot wrong with this country. And there's so much more that needs to be done. And I forgot. I wanted to start off with this, and I've already gone beyond what I wanted, how I wanted to start. If we could have a moment of silence for those that aren't here today, for those in Annapolis and the recent shootings, certainly for the border issues and those that are separated, for anything that's on your heart, if we could have a moment of silence, you know, and bring respect and a good spirit to those things that really need it now, along with why we're here today. Thank you. You know, following Sophia and David, I'm honored to be here today, as we all are, I'm sure. We know why we're here and ongoing issues of this country, but I look, as David was saying, you know, some of the brown skin issues, and it will never stop in this country. Despite the progress we've made, 2008, we elected an African-American man as president of this country. And I didn't, by all means. I didn't naively think at that time that all racial issues were gone because we elected a minority person, because within 16 years, here we are again, fighting racial issues, fighting discriminatory issues, being led by the president of this country, and that's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. I read that there's this quote I read not too long ago. It's loyalty is a consequence of leadership, and leadership is a cornerstone of competency. Well, I can say right now that this administration is violating that saying right now. As far as I'm concerned, there's nothing competent about what's being done in the White House and by a lot of people down in D.C. There's a sign over here. The only detention center we really need is with the president behind bars. You know? This country, as good as it is, and to have the right, the freedom to gather here and across this nation today, all the gatherings for why we are gathered, to have that freedom to be able to speak your mind and to listen and to hopefully all be in one mind, or at least looking to try and right the wrongs, to have that freedom. But yet, here we are in this country, as good as it is, having freedoms denied of those, having freedoms taken away. Who in the right mind, this is not a rhetorical question, but nonetheless, who in the right mind would implement a policy that separated families? And I can tell you they're not in their right mind. Monsters. As a parent, and I think I speak for everyone here that is a parent, you would die for your kids and do everything possible to make things better for them, to protect them, to look out for them, to make sure they're not in harm's way. And here's this government leading the efforts to put them in harm's way and to separate them from their families and their loved ones and their parents. Who in the right mind would do that?
Monsters!
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 We have to get together. This gathering today, it doesn't end at 5 o'clock, 5:30, whatever. This mindset has to continue forever. When we go home, the 4th of July, the independence and birthday of this country, well, that doesn't mean that this stops here today or after the 4th of July or all the gatherings that are around this country. We have to continue in our efforts to expose these atrocities, the egregious decisions, the wrongs that these leaders are doing. How, they weren't elected. The moral conscience and good common sense doesn't stop at the D.C. border. It doesn't stop at the doorsteps of the White House or of Congress or the Supreme Court. And it's up to us to have our voices continually heard. Don't lose the opportunity as we gather here today and as we part ways at the end. Don't lose that opportunity to continue on the efforts of this organization. It's all about us. We elected them. Maybe they're not carrying out ways and acting in ways and making decisions and voting on laws that we really support. But it's on us. New elections are going to happen this November. Maybe there's new people that get put into office. Doesn't matter if it's... It doesn't matter if they're Republican or Democrat. Come, vote, vote. Absolutely, but vote the right person in. That's the key. Vote the right person in. Just because it might be someone that's been there forever, maybe it's time for them to go. I know there's a few politicians running for state positions, and you want to support everyone you can, but at the same time, what are they about? Man or woman, what are they about? What's their heart? What's their mind? What are they standing for? Are they standing here for what needs to be done? Or are they sitting back in their office or whatever, sitting on their hands and remaining mute? That's not a politician that I want to elect. I want someone that's going to make a difference. And I did want to share this. We're talking about separation of families and all, and I did want to give it a little historical aspect. If you know anything about my tribe, this is Narragansett land. It's Rhode Island, yeah. This is Narragansett land. And we know all too well, let me tell you, we know all too well, not that we have a cornerstone on it, but we know just as well as anyone, if not better than most, what it is to be separated, what it is to have attacks against your way of life, what it is to have assimilated efforts and annihilations of your way, of your beliefs, of your language. We know what that's about, and this is our own country. Something's wrong. Something's wrong with that. Several hundred years ago, it was mentioned earlier, several hundred years ago, what happened here? It was my ancestors that welcomed Roger Williams, unfortunately, but it was my ancestors that welcomed Roger Williams here, shook hands and said, welcome, Neetop. What's your Neetop? Thank you, I was thinking about this. What's your Neetop? It was my ancestors. But if that didn't happen, if this country didn't go the way it did, then it'd be Narragansett's issuing visas to be here. And I don't want to take away how this country evolved. There's a lot to be appreciated about it. We're standing here again today, and I look, of course, there's all colors, there's all races, there's all ethnicities, there's all creeds. This is what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. We get together as a people, and we let the politicians know that no more separations at the border, no more immigration issues such as this, no more white supremacy, if you will, no more. You look in the history books. You look in the history books and how this country was supposedly founded. History books, if they tell the true history, and certainly they don't. But divine rights and doctrine of discovery. My people were here. They weren't. We weren't. This country wasn't discovered. This country was inhabited. And what makes these people think, just because of politicians nowadays, what makes them think they're better than a person of brown skin, that they can stop them at the border? And God forbid that they can separate families. Again, who in the right mind would do something like that? No one. No one in their right mind. I appreciate this opportunity to be here today. I have to go back to work, but to think, look around, look to your neighbor standing next to you. That's what it's all about. When this country does something wrong, the civil rights issues, the women's rights issues, the gay rights issues, the immigration and family separation issues, we stand together and we stand for the right thing often enough. But it's the people in D.C. and the people at the state houses that got to make the differences. They got to enforce, put laws into place and then enforce those laws. Don't let your rights be stymied by anyone. And don't let this family separation continue. Stop it. Let's stop it together. Thank you.